Reddit relay.
With Halloween coming up, what is your story of the creepiest thing that's ever happened to you?
Last year, I was dog sitting for my parents while they were on holiday. They live in a very rural countryside village in an old barn conversion, and I hate staying there by myself. So about 10 days into house sitting, I woke up at 4 a.m. and could hear something downstairs. Thinking I had somehow gone to bed and left the TV on, I went down to the lounge, but the TV was off. Very confused at this point, I wandered into the hall looking for the source of the sound. Both the dogs were sat very alertly outside the office door. Then I saw that light was coming from behind the office door. I have absolutely no explanation for what happened that night. The computer in the office is my brother's, and he had been sailing in Europe for 2 months at this point, and his computer was always password protected. However, on this night, the computer was on, unlocked, and the noise I could hear was a YouTube video about Soviet experiments of dog head transplants. I worked from home the next day as I was so scared I'd come home to find my dog's heads had been switched. Edit. Commenter, it's correct. It was Soviet experiments, not Nazi. I was too scared to Google it again.
I was working as a bartender at a hotel that a flight attendant was murdered in room 354 at about a year before the incident. Anyhow, it was close to closing time when the MOD, a very small woman, comes into the bar and tells me she needed my help. It seems the fire panel is showing an alarm in room 354, which had been somewhat cleaned and left vacant since the murder. So the two of us go up the elevator and start heading down the long L-shaped corridor. As we round the corner, we can see papers had been shoved under the door from inside the room with "Help Me" written on them. So the manager puts her master key in the lock and opens the door to pitch black in the room, and we hear, "Thank God, you have finally come!" We both instinctively jump back, and then see one of our maintenance workers stroll out the door. It seems maintenance had been using the room for storage, and once he went inside, the doorknob was broken off on the inside. There were no lights or phone in the room, so he held his lighter up to the fire alarm.
When I was a senior in high school, a bunch of my friends and I used to drive into the hills to drink and get away from our parents. I was the DD one night and drove back 4 of my friends. 2 of the girls were really drunk and started puking, so we pulled over in a park. Both of the girls started puking outside my car doors, and then this pickup rolled up behind us and had its high beams on us. I thought it was the cops and was just waiting for them to bust us, but the person in the car just stayed there. Eventually, we closed the doors and drove away. The pickup followed us. I started driving faster and through a neighborhood I knew really well, taking every turn and starting to speed up, but the pickup kept following us. Eventually, my friends needed to puke again, and we pulled over. The pickup stopped behind us and again just kept its lights on us. I looked through my rearview mirror and saw an older white guy with a beard. He started reaching for something in his glove compartment. At that point, I freaked out, told my friends to pull my other friends in the car, and floored it. We took a couple turns and lost the guy. We stayed in a driveway of a random person for like 15 minutes and then decided it was safe. We turned back onto the main street, and the pickup truck was waiting for us. I drove as fast as I could down the main street, and the pickup kept following us. Eventually, at the bottom of a hill, there was a massive accident and a bunch of police cars and fire trucks. I started to slow down like I was going to pull over towards the police, The pickup overtook us, ran a red light in front of the cops, and I never saw him again. I have no idea who that guy was or what he wanted, but it was terrifying.
Gather round, boys and ghouls, and I will tell you the chilling tale of the Twisty Tie Lady. I have posted this once before, but figured I'd share it again. Apologies in advance for formatting. I'm on mobile. This happened about 12 years ago. I was still living at home in high school. My parents purchased a condo from a family friend, and we moved in. The lady, family friend's mother, we bought the condo from, had passed away of natural causes inside the condo. She was an older lady, friendly from what I hear. She also dabbled in sorts of witchcraft or black magic. I don't believe she was casting evil spells on anyone, more of a hobby, I suppose. So anyway, we move in. Most of her belongings were left behind, so my parents kept the stuff they needed, mostly furniture and coffee tables. After months of living there, we had a suspicion that we weren't alone. Now, this wasn't your typical haunted house scenario. There were no flickering lights, strange noises, or lurking shadows that led us to this belief. It was twisty ties. Yes, just like the ones that come with the loaves of bread you buy from the store. Every now and then, we would find these strange twisty ties around the house. These random-ass twisty ties would seemingly appear out of thin air, almost strategically placed so they would be noticed. Like I'd be hanging out on the couch watching TV, go to the kitchen to fetch a tasty beverage, and come back to find a stray twisty tie just chilling on the coffee table. We'd find them wrapped around cords, on countertops, in desk drawers, even one time wrapped around my toothbrush. Each one unique in the shape, color, and placement. It certainly wasn't a shit-your-pants moment, but over time living there, you'd start to look for it and anticipate it. There were 3 of us that lived there, and of course we all blamed each other, and of course none of us ever fessed up to it. However, there were enough isolated instances each one of us had encountered to deny it. It was kind of fun, actually. We named her the Twisty Tie Lady, and I started to collect them in my nightstand drawer just for funsies. I always wondered, why twisty ties? I tried extensive research on the web about twisty ties and if they had any significance in witchcraft, and found nothing. A few years later, after moving out, I had learned that when the lady was alive, it became a little inside joke between her and daughter, the family friend, to save all her twisty ties for further use. I guess that was her way of reaching out in the afterlife. Sadly, the condo complex had been wiped out from a flood. But to this day, every time I see a twisty tie, I smile.